Sometimes you just got to know when to move on, even if you don't want to. And Cheeseheads, that time is now. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Lombardi Time Brews. I'm your host, John Delray. The Packers are so freaking close. Like, they hung in tight with the San Francisco 49ers, but at the end of it all, they just could not close. And they certainly had their chances too, right? But between a missed kick and the offense falling apart and the defense being asked to make one more stand than it had in it, Green Bay Packers are home. And now what's happening is the players are meeting with position coaches. They're packing their bags. If they're an upcoming free agent, they might very well be saying some goodbyes. And Matt LaFleur held his end of the season press conference today. We may very well be seeing him again soon with any type of announcements or anything like that. But nonetheless, the Packers are closing the books on the 2023 season and beginning to look ahead to 2024, as are we. So today, this is not going to be an incredibly opinion-based thing. I don't have an injury report for you even. It's just, today I'm going to go through, here's what happens next for the Packers. And maybe this will be informative. Maybe it'll be some things that you haven't thought about, but things like retaining coaches, who's free agents, where do they actually have picks in the draft now that more of that is solidified? We're going to take you through it. And then over the next about week and a half, I'm going to do individual videos on each one of these topics, declaring here's what I think they should do about each one of these things. So, I mentioned players cleaning out their locker. It's a very, very important part. And so just so you have a clear picture of what's going on right now, players, they were given the day off yesterday to lick their wounds, watch teams that would go on or not go on just like them. And now in their locker today, they're packing up their stuff, saying goodbye. John Runyon Jr. gave a very emotional talk at his locker because this is one of the last chances for press to be in that locker room. John Runyon Jr. saying a tearful hope to be back in Green Bay next year. We'll be talking about him when we get to free agents. And then, of course, LaFleur getting up to the podium. And while a lot of what LaFleur said was just, yep, we've watched the game. We're not happy about it, but it is what it is. Overall, this has been a successful season in a lot of different ways. Of course, we've got our guy in Jordan Love, but he said a few things that I did want to clarify because, as we say here, like, context matters. And I'm already seeing a bunch of the tweets, a bunch of the graphics that get shown around on Facebook and stuff that just truncate quotes and don't actually tell the full story. So I wanted to clarify a few things. Number one was something that actually went around a lot online following the Packer game right after. Matt LaFleur is massively peeved at Tom Rinaldi, and you can tell. Tom Rinaldi was the sideline reporter during the Packer 49er game. And basically what happened is there was this quote out there. When he goes out there, I just pray. Matt LaFleur talking about Anders Carlson. That's what Rinaldi said. LaFleur said. Okay. LaFleur thought that he was making that comment in jest during a production meeting. And LaFleur said on the podium today, I have been a part of production meetings since I was a coordinator. It's been a long time. I've never had a single comment ever taken so far out of context as its own statement, etc. And you could tell, like LaFleur even said, he had to go talk to Anders afterwards, that is being spread around. So no matter how you feel about Anders or whatever, Matt LaFleur got burned on this one. He made an off little comment to Rinaldi. Perhaps it wasn't even the entirety of the comment that LaFleur made. Regardless, it's been spread around like wildfire, and LaFleur ain't happy. Now, did he deny saying those exact words? No, he didn't. But we also all know, especially anyone with any type of experience in public speaking, with newspapers or anything like that, that there are comments that you make to reporters expecting them to be printed. And then there's also just small talk, banter, what have you, where you crack a joke. Sounds like LaFleur may need to be a little bit more careful because he got burned on this one. Number two thing that I did want to address from LaFleur's presser. You may see a bunch of reaction to LaFleur talking about giving up play calling. I've already seen a couple graphics tweets. That's why I wanted to acknowledge this. Because frankly, like LaFleur, given how the second half of the season went, given the fact that his play calling did make a lot more sense for his personnel in the second half, like he made changes and it worked, no doubt about it. But he made comment today in his press conference about giving up play calling. And I've seen like the clickbait quotes going around about, was LaFleur giving up play calling? Why would he do that? The offense was so successful. Well, yeah, because what was going on in the press conference itself was LaFleur was listing off a bunch of things that they are going to evaluate as a coaching staff. And he's looking for anything that they can do to improve themselves and improve the Packers. So he listed off a bunch of different stuff. And then he said play calling, and every one of the reporters' ears just went, huh? And then keyed in on that. And then LaFleur expounded that, yeah, we would trust Steno to do that. We have capable coaches who could do it. Matt LaFleur did not say he's giving up play calling. He did not say that it's in serious conversation. He said it, as well as pretty much anything that they do, their entire process, their entire jobs, is going to be undergoing a review soon to make sure that they're as efficient and as good as possible. It doesn't mean he's giving up play calling. It was one thing that he listed. Number 3. I want to clear this up. Joe Barry's job security. So, yes, in the press conference today, Matt LaFleur did refuse to say any declarative statements about big picture items. He started off the press conference with that because he knew he was going to get asked, said he's not doing anything today. It's been 48 hours since the game. There is a lot of evaluation to be done. There's a lot of meetings, a lot of conversations, what have you. He's not making any declarative statements today. Now, a few things here. Last year, he didn't mind saying anything because last year he said at this same press conference last year, he said that he doesn't envision any coaches' changes coming. Well, seems that though Matt LaFleur is admitting that there's at least going to be consideration this year. One coach he doesn't sound that way about, though, would be Tom Clements, the quarterback coach, because when Matt LaFleur was asked about Clements, LaFleur initially took the question as to, do the Packers want Clements back? And LaFleur just darn near blushed, just oodling praise for Tom Clements and the job that he's done with Aaron Rodgers, with Jordan Love over the last few years. And then the question was actually like, does Tom want to come back? He's 70 years old. Is he going to retire? Is he coming back? But I think that gave you the stance as to where Matt LaFleur is. He's really, really hoping Tom Clements comes back. Back to Joe Barry, though, there's a couple things to keep in mind here because it's become very, very commonplace. I think I've even done it myself a couple times to say that Joe Barry's contract is expiring. And to make that statement is to say that it's based upon precedence. The Packers give out 3-year contracts for coordinators. This is the end of year 3 for Joe Barry. So he should be a free agent, right? Because that's their standard rule of thumb. Turns out it's not. See, Matt Schneiderman clarified on Twitter today, quick housekeeping note. Joe Barry's contract is not expiring, according to a source. Matt LaFleur has yet to make a decision on the future of his defensive coordinator, but it would be a firing and not a decline to renew if he moves on from Barry. So that rumor that has spread like wildfire, that thing that's out there, it ain't true. Joe Barry is still under contract next year. Now, there's a couple things here. One, maybe Joe Barry did initially sign a 3-year contract when he was named the defensive coordinator. And then he got extended last year. It's possible. It's possible. Or maybe he originally signed a 2-year contract, and last year he was on the last year of his deal, and none of us knew it then. And then he re-signed last offseason. Either way, kind of puzzling coming off of last year. The thing with Joe Barry is we know the pattern that Packer fans are sick of is an average to below average defense for the vast majority of the year. Then all of a sudden it gets to be crunch time and they're a slightly above average defense. It's kind of like we know the tale already with Joe Barry, which in some ways for LaFleur, is a good thing. I did also want to add in one other thing for Matt LaFleur. LaFleur said when he was asked about the Jair suspension, the Campbell tweets, when it looked from the outside that Matt LaFleur was losing control of the team, when the team was going to mutiny in that locker room. And LaFleur said, and I thought this was very, very telling of why Matt LaFleur decided to keep Joe Barry on, of Matt LaFleur's temperament, personality, beliefs as a coach. He said on the podium today, I just told my coaches, told the players, it would be difficult to expect them to stay together when we, as a coaching staff, can't stay together. I don't know. Maybe it's not a big deal, but to me, it was like, oh, okay, that's why you kept Joe. After the Carolina game, after the Tampa game, yeah, that's it right there. You believed that you needed to hold the ship together in every single way, because if you would have fired a coach, so many people are thinking you fire a coach, then it lights a fire under the defense, and that little change may get them to play better. No, Matt LaFleur chose continuity, chose we are all in this together, and I'm going to reinforce that image. And the expectation of you players is that you stand together as well. And you know what? It actually worked this year. So, all right. So now what do the Green Bay Packers need to do? What's next? Okay. And there's a few different things here. So one, let's just hit free agents, right? That's one of the easiest things to talk about. Here is their list of restricted free agents. Now you see on there, this is from Spot Track. You see a couple different designations on there. Way over on the side of the screen, there's ERFA and RFA. Okay. What that truly means is ERFA is an exclusive rights free agent. It means the Green Bay Packers are the only team that can tender a contract to this player if they see fit. RFA means that they're restricted free agents, and the Packers would have the option to match any contract they could get on an open market. So here you have it. The ERFAs, Caleb Jones, Dan Whelan, Benny Sapp III, Patrick Taylor, and Bo Melton. Now, few things here. Bo Melton, Ken Ingalls, the fans cap expert, he actually heard from a source, I don't know who, but he heard from a source that Bo Melton, when he was activated to the 53, actually wound up signing a 2-year contract. So Bo does not belong on this list. Regardless, all those ERFAs, they're coming back. The Packers will tender them all contracts. They do every year. There's no reason not to. No other team can do it. No other team can even bid on it. So there you have it. They'll all be back. RFAs, though, Zane Anderson, Robert Rochelle, we'll see. In terms of their unrestricted free agents, honestly, not too bad of a list. These are guys that can just, once the actual free agency period starts, they can go sign anywhere. Up until that point, the Packers can re-sign them. So you got Yosh Nijman, Keyshawn Nixon, Darnell Savage. That's Rudy Ford, not Jonathan Ford, defensive tackle. His real name's Jonathan. That's Jonathan Rudy Ford, free safety. A.J. Dillon, Eric Wilson, Josiah DeGuara, Tyler Davis, Jonathan Owens, and John Runyon Jr. So besides figuring out those players, the free agents, there's also a couple of guys that they need to make some massive decisions on. And these decisions can happen at almost any time. These are guys with high cap numbers or just decisions that need to be made that could affect the cap soon, right? One, David Bakhtiari. Cutting David Bakhtiari results in a $20 million cap gain right now. And whether they do it before June 1st, after June 1st, it doesn't matter. It's $20 million in cap space to be had by cutting David Bakhtiari. Next one, Devondre Campbell. Some people still really want him back. We've seen that he has gotten slower. Maybe it's health related, maybe it's not. Then you also had the tweets. Then it's a very messy situation. So the Packers may opt to go either way here from the outside looking in. Okay, here are the financials of it, just so you're aware. Cutting Campbell results in only a $2.6 million cap gain. His contract was designed in a way that it makes the most sense if they're going to move on after next year, after 2024. But if they want to do it now, they save $2.6 million in cap gain right now. If they declare the release after June 1st, then they would gain $10.5 million cap space right now, but take on $8 million dead cap in 2025. Another decision they got to make, young cornerback Eric Stokes. Yeah, don't forget, that's a thing. They got to decide on that 5th-year option. He is under contract for 2024, but with these first-round picks, you have to declare whether you're going to take the 5th-year option or not as the player is heading into their 4th year. And so that option estimated right now, if they were to pick it up, would be approximately $11.2 million that they would pay Eric Stokes in 2025. So it is a decision they have to make. I know some of you are going to have really strong feelings on whether they should do it or not. It's just the facts, people. All right, then there's also guys, they need to decide on restructuring, extending, lowering a cap number in some kind of way. And I feel as though this list of vets that are going to be evaluated this way would be Kenny Clark. He's got a $27 million cap number next year. He's only 28 years old. I think he's a very strong extension candidate. We may be talking about him later. Aaron Jones, something's probably going to be done with his contract. Jair, probably going to get another restructure. Rashawn Gary, I know that contract is brand new, but if you look at it, it had restructures in mind, even when it was signed. probably going to happen. And then you've got one who absolutely positively is going to be extended. That would be one quarterback, Jordan Love. Even Rappaport Schefter said the Packers and Jordan Love's people are already preparing. Like, this is going to be a big one. It's going to be a big extension that's going to take up a lot of room. They cannot do it until mid-May. Be on the lookout for that. It certainly is coming. And then one last topic we're going to talk about today, because just to recap, we know LaFleur's got to decide on his coaching staff, right? They got to decide on free agents. They got to decide on what they're going to do with the guys who are on the roster. Keep them, cut them, pick on them, whatever. But then there's that big thing in the end of April. And yes, I've seen the questions. Don't you worry. We are going to be doing mock drafts. In fact, coming up soon, once I actually do draft prep, we will start doing probably darn near weekly mock drafts for the Packers. It'll be a feature on this channel. So this is the capital that they've got to work with right now in round one. They've got pick 25. I know that top line there isn't updated. That now is solidified. It is going to be pick 25. In round two, they've got pick 9, otherwise known as 41. Also in round 2, pick 20, 52. In round 3, it's going to be pick 19 or 83. And also in round 3 from the Rasul Douglas trade, pick 24, otherwise known as 88. In fact, I think that might be outdated now that I'm looking at it. I'm fairly certain that the Packers do have pick 91, not 88, so I'm sorry for that. In round 4, pick 21, 26, 20, 197, and 719 for 236. Keep in mind, too, that there also would be a few comp selections added in as well. Figuring maybe a 5, 6, and 7 for Dean Lowry, Allen Lazard, all the free agents that they lost last year. So in terms of draft capital, the Packers are in a very, very strong spot. Some metrics consider them to have the 4th most draft capital in the league, which for a team that just made the divisional round of the playoffs, that ain't too shabby. So there you have it. Just because it's the offseason, it doesn't mean things really slow down much, do they? So keep that in mind. Now, one thing I'm going to say, okay, I'll be talking about it as we get to it closer. Just want to make you aware now for regular viewers who are here every single episode. First of all, I love you. But second, there is coming up a week, maybe 2, at the beginning of March that you're going to see me disappear. I have some health stuff going on. I'm getting a procedure done, and I'm not going to be able to talk for a little bit. And that's kind of fundamentally what I do here. So there is going to come a time. I know the timing isn't great as that's ramping up to draft season, but I really tried to position things to be on the earlier side of draft season. So just if you're a regular here, I just want to start putting that out there now that I'm not just done. There are a couple weeks off coming. So, all right, with that in mind, Wednesday, 4:30, regularly scheduled live. I'm going to be here answering any questions about the offseason, what we see coming, etc. Then Friday, I'm going to start actually going through these topics and talking about what I feel the Packers should do for each one of these decisions they've got to make. And maybe by then, we'll also have some coaching news. Maybe. We'll find out. So, all right, hope you're doing okay out there, everybody. I will see you on Wednesday at 4:30 for the live. Thanks for joining me here at Lombardi Time Brews. And as always, go Pack, go.